Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your precious time with us in today's webinar as a sister series Women in Tech by Universitas Indonesia Women in Business. And today's is also a very special day because we have you as our audience that came from various universities across Indonesia. Or if I'm not mistaken, we also have participants from Malaysia. So yeah, I really hope that you have a good time until the end of the session today with us. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Rahel Rasati, or you can call me Rahel. I'm one of the Vice President of Business Education at UI Women in Business. And today I will be responsible in hosting this today's webinar.
Women in Tech by Universitas Indonesia Women in Business.
To lead and to
And
have a
today's is
discussion with
also a
our
very
exceptional
special day
speakers.
because we
But
have
before I introduce you to our speakers, I'm going to start today's webinar by introducing you a little bit about UI Women in Business, especially for those of you who are still wondering or might unfamiliar about our community.
good time until the
UI Women in Business is a newly initiated community at UI. We aim to provide a deeper understanding about various career opportunities and also provides a gender issues surrounding women at UI. We believe that those purposes will help us to get a better understanding about what life looks like after college as a woman, and we may be able to prepare ourselves to achieve our dreams. In order for us to achieve those visions, we are guided by three missions, which are the empower, connect, and grow. And from those three missions, we have several initiatives. And one of those initiatives is today's event. It is as a sister series, Women in Tech. It's an interactive panel discussion conducted by UI Women in Business, along with the respective speakers that come from a technology company. This series aspires to be a platform for you to have a deeper understanding about career in technology, and I really hope that you may gain insights in preparing yourself, especially in enhancing your skill or portfolio in tech, and then as the recruitment process, as well as thrive and develop your career, especially in technology. And today we'll have a very smart, kind-hearted, and accomplished speaker here with us. The first one is Hana Clarinda. She is the product designer at Gojek and also the alumni of Faculty of Engineering in University of Indonesia, batch 2015. And we also have Teresa Pranyoto. She is currently the software engineer at Google Sydney, and also the alumni of Faculty of Computer Science, batch 2013. And last but not least, we also have Wimala Puspa. She is the Senior Product Manager at Bukalapak and also the alumni of Faculty of Engineering, batch 2012. And those three speakers will deliver material in two sessions. The first session will be a roadmap of Silicon Valley dream job, with each speaker will present around 15 minutes about their career as in tech, and then we'll have a Q&A session. And the second session will be how to hack a tech career, where each of the speaker will talk in 15 minutes to talk about the recruitment process of each role, and then we'll have a Q&A session after that. And last but not least, we would like to remind you a couple of things before we start our event. Number one would be please always ensure that your audio is on mute throughout the session, but we highly encourage you to open the camera so the speakers may see your curious and passionate face when they're delivering their material. And the second one would be remember that we will not provide you to directly ask questions in the chat box, but don't worry, you can ask the questions as much as you would like through the Slido, and the code will be provided in the chat box. And the last one would be, please feel free for you to take a pictures during this session, and maybe you can share the favorite part of this session to your friends the Instagram, and you can tag us on your story, and then we will repost it accordingly. Okay, so without further ado, let's welcome our very first speakers. It is Hana Clarinda, the product designer of Gojek, and also the alumni of Faculty of Engineering, batch 2015. Hana, the time and the screen is yours.
Oh,
Halo,
I'm sorry.
Hana.
I still have, yeah, it's on. Okay, thank you so much, Rachel, and everyone here. Hello. Thank you so much, UI Women in Business, for inviting me today. And hello, everyone. I feel so glad to be able to be here to talk in front of you here. So hope everyone is doing well. Okay. So my name is Hana. I'm from Faculty of Engineering, Universitas Indonesia. I graduated in 2019, and ever since then, I've been pursuing a career in UI UX design. Okay. Can you please next slide, please? Yeah, so to sum it up, I am an architecture graduate who transitioned into UI UX or product designer. And I'm now working at Gojek, a ride-hailing company in Indonesia. Previously, I have experience working in Tokopedia as a UX designer in enterprise IT team. And prior to that, I have had internships and freelance jobs at various places. Yeah, and I really enjoy taking on new challenges as I am always curious to learn something new. Yeah, I believe that all of you guys here can achieve your dream jobs if you have enough resilience and an eagerness to learn. Next. Ya, oke. So, ini sih sebenarnya dari pas aku zaman-zaman di kuliah dulu ya gitu. Jadi dari zaman di kuliah gitu aku udah sempet freelance juga gitu. Kayak sempet jadi drafter, jadi interior designer gitu. But truthfully, aku baru banget masuk internship gitu, have internship itu pas tahun terakhir aku kuliah, which is 2019 gitu. Dan sebenarnya tuh sempat grogi juga karena waktu itu banyak banget yang udah internship tuh di tahun-tahun awal kuliah, udah mulai ini itu udah tahu mau kemana, sedangkan aku benar-benar masih melalang buana, masih kemana-mana gitu. Jadi dari 2019 itu aku juga ada banyak nyoba-nyoba sih, dari ke architecture firm gitu, aku jadi intern di biro arsitek, terus aku habis itu coba juga ke Uang Teman, which is a fintech startup, itu aku jadi bagian tim marketing, graphic design intern, sampai akhirnya aku coba-coba apply internship ke Traveloka as a product research intern gitu, dan itu aku masuk ke tim Central Design Committee namanya, so it's like the core design team di sana. Dan habis itu aku my first job itu di Tokopedia as a UX designer, working in enterprise IT team gitu. Jadi kita developing internal tools sih gitu di sana. And now I'm in Gojek gitu as a product designer gitu. So jadi sebenarnya emang aku nyoba-nyoba banyak banget, dan ini semua cukup berbeda sih dengan apa yang aku belajarin di kuliah gitu. Oke, lanjut lagi. Ya, di sini sebenarnya banyak banget yang nanya sih gitu, kenapa aku akhirnya drift away from architecture, like why was I interested to enter tech industry. Jadi kan, as per my last slide, I've been exploring different fields without actually knowing what I like best. Jadi pertama-tama yang paling bikin aku ya ngerasa banget sih di tech industry itu banyak banget opportunity yang ada untuk kita socialize with different people, we learn, we grow here, and we have a chance to make an impact gitu. Kan kita kan emang memegang produk ya di sini, jadi benar-benar nurture this product gitu, kita desain produk ini gitu. Dan juga secondly is it's fast-paced environment. Jadi challenge-nya, opportunities-nya itu selalu berubah gitu. Jadi kita tuh emang harus selalu bisa beradaptasi dengan ya skill-skill yang baru, project-nya baru. Truthfully dari zaman dulu aku awal masuk ini ya tech startup itu semuanya beda-beda project-nya, nature-nya. Dan itu membuatku senang sih karena jadi banyak belajar banget. Dan ketiga itu ada flexible working hour. Di sini aku juga cukup senang karena productivity level aku rasanya tuh bisa tetap aku maintain. Aku nggak harus matok komputer dari jam 9 sampai jam 5 gitu. Jadi as long as the job is done, as long as I join meetings gitu, alignment semua ikut, dan deadline-nya semua bisa aku capai gitu, itu ya aku ngerasa aku bisa kerja jam berapa aja sih gitu. Ya aku be part of it all gitu, jadi aku bisa kayak help build something, bisa megang produk ini, be part of its growth from the very beginning. Next please. Ya ini sih yang paling aku appreciate dari kerja di tech startup gitu. Jadi selama pandemi ini kan jadi semuanya aku work from home gitu. Aku bahkan masuk ke Gojek aja udah work from home dulu karena emang kebetulan baru hampir 4,5 bulan lalu lah, hampir 5 bulan. Dan aku bisa tetap collaborate seamlessly dengan semua orang yang ke-involve di dalam project ini. We utilize lots of different applications to do what we used to do offline. And we shifted every behavior, jadinya semua jadi online gitu, mau kita akhirnya testing, ketemu sama orang yang ngasih lihat desain kita ke orang, atau mungkin kita berkolaborasi, kita desain nih di kalau picture kedua ya, itu kan ada kayak kursor-kursornya. Jadi di situ kita beneran kayak bisa kolaborasi sambil call, bisa sambil nulis, kayak ngasih masukin ide gitu. Dan menurutku ini berguna banget sih. Jadi semua yang biasanya offline kita kayak nempel-nempelin sticky notes, akhirnya semua nih bisa di move jadi online gitu. Dan juga bisa kita juga punya namanya pakai Asana, dan ini yang salah satu yang aku rasakan nggak ada di architecture firm gitu pas dulu. Di sini kita juga bisa selalu keep in track gitu, kita bisa tahu project kita siapa aja sih yang ke-involve, di mana aja orang-orang ini semua berperan, dan ada kayak deadline-nya, ada orang-orang yang emang bertugas mengerjakan suatu task gitu. Jadi kita bisa kayak allocate work-nya gitu, workload-nya ke orang ini, orang itu gitu. Dan ini bisa dari tim marketing, tim bisnis, tim design, tim engineering, semuanya lah gitu. Next please. Nah, ini foto-foto aja sih yang aku attach gitu di sini. Ini foto-foto yang aku ambil ya dari zaman aku dulu internship gitu. Dan di sini kalian bisa lihat, ini nih kolaborasinya tuh bisa banget gitu. Aku selalu berkolaborasi sama orang-orang yang berbeda, ada diskusi, ikut workshop, ada meeting gitu, brainstorming bareng-bareng, dan juga kalau kalian lihat ini kan kayak banyak banget beda-beda ya kayak latarnya. Nah ini nih karena emang kita juga dikasih kebebasan untuk kerja dari mana aja gitu. As long as ya kita bisa deliver our job, kita show up to meetings, as long as ya we get our job done, kita bisa kerja dari mana aja gitu. Kita nggak harus duduk di meja kita gitu. Bahkan kayak ya itu salah satu perks sih menurut aku dari kerja di tech industry gini, di mana semuanya ya benar-benar bebas aja gitu. Next. Okay, getting to know my job better. What is UX? So people is familiar with interfaces. People know that we produce screens gitu. We design how it looks. But I think a lot of people still don't understand what our job entirely covers. So we also cover all the strategy behind it. Kita harus tahu banget ini produknya ini sebenarnya needs-nya apa aja sih, business needs-nya apa. Kita harus tahu usernya untuk siapa kita ngedesain. Kita harus tahu goals-nya nih produk ini apa, long term-nya apa, short term-nya apa gitu. Dan juga setelahnya kita harus tahu ini fungsinya ini gimana, requirements yang ada gimana, apakah kita punya sebuah kayak tech limitations atau ada constraint dari segi waktu, itu kita juga harus tahu semuanya. Dan setelahnya kita juga harus tahu nih, kan kita udah define apa aja sih yang bakalan ada di dalam produk ini gitu. Kita juga harus bisa kayak develop kayak misalnya informasi yang ada apa aja, dan yang dari informasi screen A ke screen B, screen C itu kita harus bisa menghubungkan itu. Jadi kita harus bisa nge-cover connectivity between the screens also gitu. Jadi baru setelahnya kita bisa bikin kayak misalnya kita bikin wireframe-nya yang kayak misalnya kayak kotak-kotak, kita nge-sketch placement-nya nih bagusnya gimana sih gitu, apa yang paling experience kayak gimana yang paling bagus untuk user, sampai akhirnya semua kita polish, kita produce di dalam bentuk ya UI yang udah final gitu. Tapi ya emang di sini itu semuanya itu berpengaruh untuk membuat satu screen yang emang bagus, yang orang-orang lihat, cuman kan biasanya ini hasil akhirnya. Sebenarnya proses di balik itu tuh cukup banyak gitu. More on this later lah gitu. Next please. Nah, ya di sini salah satu contohnya nih, misalnya kalau kalian familiar, ini kan salah satu screen dari Tokopedia ya. Di sini contohnya ini adalah di saat aku baru aja habis add to cart gitu. Di sini aku misalnya baru beli pot ya. Aku baru beli pot tanaman gitu. Nah, kalau aku udah pencet add to cart, setelahnya nih bakal ada satu CTA di atas kan, lihat keranjang kayak produk berhasil ditambahkan, dan di bawahnya itu ada complementary products-nya gitu. Nah, complementary products ini adalah produk-produk yang sifatnya melengkapi apa yang udah aku beli tadi gitu. Nah, ini nih sebenarnya menurut aku bagus banget gitu. Kenapa? Karena kan jadinya kita bakalan dikasih several recommendations related to what we have just added to cart gitu. It's very helpful because it makes you discover what you also might like to buy that you didn't think of before. Ini jadi kayak digunakan untuk ngedirect sebuah user untuk beli untuk bikin additional purchase gitu. Dan ini sangat penting untuk app-nya tuh hanya men-suggest konten-konten yang relevan, item yang relevan gitu, yang bisa digunakan langsung dengan produk yang baru aku beli gitu. Jadi di sini tuh sebenarnya di balik itu tuh ada proses berpikirnya juga gitu. Kenapa akhirnya dikasih produk-produk yang sifatnya mirip-mirip, yang terkait sama produk yang aku beli. Jadi kan itu bisa men-encourage aku untuk akhirnya beli juga gitu. Dan ini mungkin nggak bakalan terjadi kalau misalnya aku dikasih rekomendasi untuk beli sepeda gitu. Itu kan nggak nyambung. Kemudian aku bakal bingung, apaan ya ini, nggak bakalan beli juga gitu. Jadi sebenarnya di sini timing matters, dan UX itu juga harus mikir gitu strateginya. Kapan sih kita harus men-suggest other items to a customer gitu. Kalau kita ngasihnya suggestion ini too frequent or inappropriate selling, ini bisa kayak membuat user tuh frustasi, mungkin bisa jadi meninggalkan cart mereka, atau mungkin ya negatively affecting the app's reputation gitu. Jadi kayak kita tuh harus tahu, this is our job as a UI UX designer, untuk tahu kapan sih kita harus kayak time things, when to put this cross-sell attempt gitu, during kayak di purchasing experience kita, untuk memastikan kalau misalnya pengalaman pembelinya dari awal sampai akhir itu bagus gitu. Dan juga kita untuk kayak bisa encourage orang ini untuk mempunyai order size yang lebih besar gitu. Nah ini kan ya ini tuh berarti emang harus, kita juga sebagai desainer harus bisa menjembatani antara needs dari sisi bisnis dan juga dari teknologi. Kita juga, ini kan semua bakalan bisa direalisasikan dengan teknologi yang bagus. Kita harus tahu constraint-nya apa, dan apakah mereka bisa untuk bikin kayak gini gitu, untuk merekomendasikan produk-produk yang relevan sifatnya gitu. Karena kan nggak bisa semua dari sisi desain aja gitu. Semua juga harus ada logic lah di belakang itu. Jadi kita ada di tengah-tengah di antara ya bridging business needs gitu, vision-nya, goals-nya gitu, technology, feasibility-nya gitu, functionality-nya, dan dari desain juga. Oke, next. Ya, ini aku bakalan singkat aja sih. Pokoknya typical design process ini salah satunya kayak gini. Ini aku dapetnya dari Google fotonya. Jadi misalnya dari awal banget, dari kita tahu ada strateginya, kita masuk ke tahap discovery, analysis, design, sampai akhirnya ke production. Itu tuh ada mengcover banyak step-step, phases yang berbeda-beda gitu. Dan emang ini yang kita harus go through, kita harus tahu gitu, at least ya. Kita nggak bisa cuman mementingkan how good it looks, but we also have to understand the whole process behind it gitu, yang dari awal sampai akhir apa aja sih yang kita cover di sini gitu. Next. Ya, ini kenapa aku kotakin UX design needs strategy. Jadi apalagi kalau kamu kerja di company gitu. Mungkin kamu kalau selama ini kalian lihat di Google atau di mana gitu, itu kan ngelihatnya UI itu penampilannya bagus-bagus banget gitu. Wow, it looks good gitu di Dribble atau di Behance, tempat-tempat kalian bisa showcase your portfolio. Tapi sebenarnya ya UX design yang dibutuhkan oleh company itu butuh lebih dalam daripada itu. Kita harus tahu banget nih tentang produknya. Kita harus tahu sebenarnya challenge-nya apa, problemnya apa yang mau kita solve gitu. What's the user problem? Ya gitu. Obstacles-nya apa aja gitu. Vision-nya tentu saja gitu. Kayak ultimate goal-nya apa gitu. Apakah goal ini bakalan kayak berubah-ubah gitu, bakal kita breakdown into pieces, atau kayak ya gimana sih, kita harus tahu lah focus areas-nya gimana gitu, scope-nya tentu aja gitu. Kayak kita harus tahu lah kayak misalnya user demografinya gimana gitu, siapa yang bakalan make ini tentu aja, karena kita harus bikin produk yang digunakan oleh user tersebut gitu. Terus mission-nya gitu, kayak how are we going to get there, activity areas-nya, of course, gitu, apa aja yang desain, apa aja efforts yang perlu kita kerahkan, dan juga KPIs and measurements-nya kita harus tahu, gitu. Banyak banget company yang menekankan banget, gitu, kita harus bikin sesuatu yang bisa diukur, jadi nggak sekedar bikin sesuatu yang terlihat bagus dilihat, tapi sebenarnya nggak tahu nih tujuan akhirnya apa, gitu. Apa aja yang kita desain, untuk apa ini sebenarnya dibuat, gitu. Next, please. Oke, ini what people think sama how it really is itu beda banget sih. What people think misalnya kayak, oh ya udah nih flow-nya cuma dari awal sampai akhir cuma melakukan ini ke sini sampai situ kelar. Tapi sebenarnya kita harus bisa nge-cover semua di balik itu gitu. Kayak misalnya kalau dari satu screen ke screen yang lain tuh sebenarnya bakal apa aja yang bisa dipencet, negatifnya apa aja cases yang bakalan bisa terjadi gitu. Jadi kita harus benar-benar nge-cover end to end-nya deh gitu. Oke, next. Ya, ini tools yang kita pakai tuh juga banyak, karena tadi kan sebenarnya prosesnya panjang. Jadi kayak yang kita pakai mau baik untuk ngedesain atau untuk kayak bikin flow, bikin prototype, itu semua juga beda-beda gitu. Jadi emang menurutku ya ini enak banget sih, kayak kita selalu belajar untuk pakai tools baru gitu. Dan komunikasi sama orang tentu aja ya pakai yang kayak Zoom, Google Meet, atau Slack gitu. Dan ini beda-beda deh tiap company. Thank you. Next. Ya, ini product designer, UI UX ini banyak banget kolaborasinya yang bisa dilakukan gitu sama PM, sama researcher, sama engineer, sama writer. Ini semua bergantung sama nature of your product gitu. Ada yang emang lebih heavy-nya di bagian awalnya, berarti emang butuh research yang lebih banyak. Dan juga kalau misalnya bersifatnya sebagai kayak improvement, kita harus banyak-banyak berhubungan sama tim data, karena kan mereka yang bakalan nge-track nih gitu, measure impact dari desain kita gimana within the time yang kita track lah gitu. Tapi yang kita benar-benar selalu harus berhubungan ya PM kita gitu, yang emang develop produknya, yang emang kayak conduct analisisnya, yang bisa yang megang produk ini gitu. Next. Next please. Ya, ini sih fulfilling experience-nya apa? Yang pertama adalah pembelajarannya, because I learn every day. Karena aku kan tadi banyak banget berhubungan sama stakeholder yang berbeda-beda nih, jadi aku selalu belajar memahami apa sih yang mereka butuhkan sehari-hari. Dan variety of work-nya bikin kita lebih beradaptasi ke semuanya. Dan kedua adalah aku suka ngelihat impact dari desain kita. Karena kan yang kita bikin kan harus diukur nih keberhasilannya gimana. Nggak mungkin kita desain karena ya udah nih kelihatannya bagus aja, tapi kita harus tahu gitu, actively measure kayak sebenarnya goals-nya tercapai nggak sih dengan desain kita gitu. Next. Ya, ini challenge-nya sih yang pertama ini adalah kayak visibility-nya gitu. Kadang-kadang kan kita bikin udah panjang lebar nih, tapi kita sebenarnya belum align sama orang-orang yang emang bakalan bikin ini. Jadi mungkin kita udah terlalu set-nya tuh, oh ini kayaknya targetnya mau bikinnya kayak gini-gini yang kompleks banget, padahal sebenarnya ternyata nggak bisa dibuat gitu. Jadi ini salah satu hal yang tersulit yang menurut aku terjadilah selama aku kerja sebagai UI UX designer gitu. Jadi kalau proyeknya terlalu ambisius ya ternyata nggak bisa direalisasikan kayak gitu. Second, habis itu yang kedua, next. Second one is communicating design to stakeholders. As we're selalu kan banyak banget nih orang-orang yang berperan dalam produk ini dan semuanya punya needs yang berbeda. Jadi kita emang harus bisa kayak benar-benar ngerti gitu, kayak banyak banget conflicting needs dari different stakeholders. Kita harus bisa jadi jembatan di antara mereka semua. Kita harus bisa konsisten gitu dalam ini. Jadi kayak kadang-kadang beda-beda banget nih keinginan dari tiap user. Next. How I manage these challenges itu pertama, communication is key. Jadi kita harus selalu involve stakeholders dari awal, yang kayak tadi. Jadi biar nggak pas di akhir tuh miscommunicate kayak oh ternyata desain kita terlalu ambisius nggak bisa di develop gitu. Jadi dari awal kita harus selalu minta mereka juga untuk kayak review, untuk kayak ngasih kabar kita udah bikin kayak gimana sampai mana gitu. Jadi semuanya bisa mereka bisa selalu actively review gitu desain kita kayak gimana, udah sampai mana gitu. Dan secondly is always be willing to learn new things. Jangan sampai takut gagal gitu. Karena ya emang kita kan sebenarnya selalu beradaptasi dengan nature project yang berbeda-beda gitu. Kita harus tahu lah sebenarnya banyak hal yang kita nggak tahu, dan jangan menutup diri gitu. Jangan merasa down kalau misalnya oke, nggak tahu banyak ya. It's our opportunity to learn. Dan the third one, jangan pernah takut untuk bilang enggak kalau misalnya kita merasa emang butuh gitu. Kita harus bisa defend our opinions juga gitu. As designers, kita nggak bisa selalu disetir sama stakeholders lain. Misalnya dari tim bisnis, tim engineering, kita harus bisa defend apa yang emang kita buat tuh emang semuanya tuh ya emang dari kita, dan ya nggak boleh gampang goyah sama orang-orang lain gitu. Apalagi karena needs-nya kan beda-beda semua. Next. Ya, ini terakhir sih, gitu. Jadi banyak banget yang pertanyaan, misalnya kayak, kenapa gue nggak punya nih IT degree, I don't have an IT degree. Ya jawabannya ya kamu sebenarnya nggak butuh, gitu. Aku aja dari jurusan arsitektur, gitu. Ya, you don't need an IT degree, just relevant experience and skills. Kan perusahaannya juga bakalan akses kamu, gitu. Jadi kalau misalnya kamu bisa ace every step of the interview, kamu bisa lancar, ya udah, gitu, all is good. Berarti emang kamu layak masuk ke perusahaan itu, di role tersebut, gitu. And will I never sleep if I work in a tech startup? Flexible working hour artinya ya kamu bisa kerja kapanpun kamu merasa paling nyaman gitu. As long as you show up during all your meetings and make sure you never miss any deadlines. Jadi ya di sini ya menurut aku orang bebas mau kerja malam, tengah malam. Engineerku banyak kok yang kerja malam-malam gitu, karena mereka senangnya kerja malam. As long as you're responsible, kamu datang ke meeting dan deadline kamu semuanya ya tercapai gitu. Jadi in a way ya bebas, mau siangnya nyantai, malamnya kerja juga oke gitu. And do tech employees work alone and never get to interact with people? Enggak. Jadi kita punya daily stand up, punya banyak workshop, meetings, think up, research gitu, alignments. Jadi ya nggak mungkin sih biasanya kayak kita jadi kayak wah bener-bener nggak pernah interaksi sama orang, itu salah besar. Kita selalu berkomunikasi satu sama lain gitu. Apalagi ya di antara tim gitu. Oke, next. Yeah, I think that's all. This is the end of my first presentation. Semoga yang tadi cukup jelas. Nanti kalian bisa, kalau ada yang mau ditanyakan, bisa ditanyakan di Q&A session. Over to the next presentation, please. And thank you.
Oke, thank you so much Hana udah sharing-sharing tentang pengalamannya jadi product designer dari yang tadinya arsitektur, di mana Hana tuh mencari tech itu karena banyak peluangnya, terus juga face-to-face environment dan flexible working hours. Selain itu, tadi juga kita jadi tahu nih kalau ternyata UX designer atau product designer itu nggak cuma fokus ke desain aja, tapi juga harus memikirkan secara technical side dan juga secara business side-nya juga. Jadi bukan hanya desain yang indah dilihat, tapi bisa solve the user's needs or the user's problem. Oke, nah tadi kan juga Kak Hana udah sempat mention tuh salah satu orang yang collaborate dengan Kak Hana adalah engineer. Nah, di sini kita punya satu speaker lagi, ada satu speaker yaitu Kak Teresa Pranyoto, yaitu software engineer at Google Sydney, dan juga alumni dari Fakultas Ilmu Komputer batch 2013. Kak Teresa, the floor and the time is yours.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Teresa. Fasilkom UI 2013. I'm currently working at Google Australia in Sydney as a software engineer. I feel really honored to be here. I think it's really awesome that ada such like an initiative buat women in our uni lah gitu. Because we need to empower each other. So about myself, next slide please. Jadi aku masuk UI tahun 2013, ilmu komputer. Then about 2015 to 2016, I started doing internships as software engineers. My first ever internship was at Kudo. Worked on Android app, and then I went to Tokopedia to work on like a ticket reservation team. And then 2016 terus aku apply Google, terus dapat offer buat internship as software engineer di Google Sydney, and then I got converted afterwards abis tamat, and here I am today still in Google Sydney. By the way, software engineer itu kalau di Indonesia, well, worldwide itu banyak aliasnya. Ada yang software developer, IT engineer, IT developer, programmer. So it's sort of the same thing. Sama kayak kalau kita bilang ilmu komputer, banyak yang bilang juga informatika or something like that. Next, please. So what attracted me? Actually, thank you so much for the Women in Business team for designing the slide, because otherwise it will only just like Microsoft Word and Paint. I was really into Paint and Microsoft Word just because I like the text art, and kind of think about it, it feels like, oh yeah, someday I want to make this kind of stuff as well. I want to make something that someone can enjoy. Terus juga abis itu zaman Friendster, kayak ada yang bikin teks bling-bling, welcome to my page. Siapa tahu kalau Friendster tuh zaman dahulu kala, itu kayak Facebook, but not Facebook. What does it even mean? Anyway, jadi kalau mau customize Friendster tuh dulu harus ada kayak pakai coding-codingan gitu, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, atau bisa ngehack orang juga, ngehack quote-quote. So yeah, I ended up getting to computer science because I love those things, and I just wonder if I could make those things. Next one. My day-to-day job, jadi software engineer itu kadang kalau orang mikirnya cuma kayak, oh ngoding doang ya. Well, ngoding is our main responsibility, tapi juga kita kerja banyak banget sama across like all functions, sama kayak UX tadi. Nah, jadi day to day aku biasanya cek email because we're a worldwide company. Biasanya emailnya ada yang datang entah jam 2 pagi atau jam gimana. Terus review codingan orang because we need to like get the code quality right. Terus juga ada dokumen. Sebenarnya juga engineers not only code, but we also design our architectures. Tapi bukan yang kayak interaktif gitu, because that's like spesialisasinya UI designers. Terus meeting not only with other engineers, but also with other stakeholders, also with other teams, other products, solving problems, making product like kalau ada bug, masuknya ke gimana atau tim mana yang harus ngerjain, and having fun with friends. Next one. So there are 3 challenges so far that I found during my career. So the first one is communication. Next slide. Next, okay. Jadi karena aku orang Indo, well, I studied in Indo, always speak in Indo. Jadi English is my second language, and it definitely kind of hinders me at the beginning, like working overseas. And also not even working, even doing interview overseas, because you guys speak in English and it's kind of hard. So I think that's kind of an obstacle, but we can get over it. We just need to practice. And those are the things that I got from the feedback from my peers, which is the second point, like how to communicate better, get feedback from your peers. What you might say doesn't mean like they might get it. So never just like assume anything. Let's speak about like the first point, make yourself heard. Jadi we live in kind of like an environment where cewek itu biasanya yang suaranya halus, yang nggak assertive lah gitu. But well, time changes and we're strong. So if you have something on your mind, speak, make yourself heard. Jangan sampai cuma gara-gara suara kita kecil or something we can't be heard. Then I think that's also one of the few where if we try to empower each other, kalau misalnya ada peers kita yang cewek juga misalnya, or like doesn't have to be girls, kayak mau ngomong but really couldn't get themselves heard, help them. We need to help each other. Terus like the don't assume context stuff, I found it's really interesting since kalau di Indo tuh kita ngomong, there is this kind of thing called high context language and low context language, where kalau di Indo kita ngomong tuh kayak we assume that people already know the context of the one that we said before, but it's not like that everywhere, and I found that it's pretty frustrating here. Jadi, well, I guess it's not only the language as well, but also explaining to others that we shouldn't assume that they already know everything or like they don't really know anything. And the last thing is, remember that nice does not equal incompetent. Kalau just because we're nice, just because we're a woman, doesn't mean we're incompetent. Just because we're not, yeah, let's do it. It's not that we're not assertive. It's not that we can't do the stuff that we need to do. Next one. Fight the impostor syndrome. So, kalau ada yang pernah dengar impostor syndrome, kalau belum pernah, itu tuh the feelings where you feel like you don't belong there, like you feel like you're the impostor. Jadi, some of the things I found along the way, how I fight the impostor syndrome, is the first one is realize that you are valuable and you are here for your competence. Oftentimes banyak yang mitos yang bilang, oh maybe like women are getting hired on like the top companies because they're women. No, it's not. Because like number 4, hiring like false negatives more than false positive. It's easier to reject people than to hire them. So you need to know if you're here, it's all good. And then never compare yourself to others negatively. Always learn from them. Never feel like you're an imposter, and acknowledge that not knowing everything is always okay. And next one. Next, please. Also, last challenge for me is like the field masculinity of the IT environment itself. So try to always be yourself. I don't know if you also feel this, if you are in the IT environment, but sometimes I feel like as a software engineer, it's a masculine field, so I can't be too girly, sort of like, oh, what if people say this thing if I wear this? Oh, what if people say this thing if I wear makeup or something? Well, I think that's 2 parts. One is like, just be yourself. And 2 is, don't listen to others. Just be yourself. Like, you don't have to be masculine. And build awareness of it. If you kind of come, like, if those thoughts comes to your mind, don't ignore it. It really matters. So you need to support others as well when this thing happens, because it's not, I feel like almost all women that I know also have like this kind of feelings. So be kind to each other. I think that's it from me. Do I still have any slides? I don't think so. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much Kak Teresa for the insightful presentation. Jadi kalau aku boleh resum lagi dari apa yang udah Kak Teresa bilang, ternyata menjadi software engineer itu nggak cuman coding aja, tapi kita juga ada communicate dengan stakeholder, ada meeting-meeting, dan juga having fun with the others. Dan salah satu tantangan yang dialami di tech itu kan kayak masalah komunikasi, apalagi untuk perempuan, kadang dikira kalau kita terlalu baik itu kita kurang kompeten atau kayak gimana. Cuman penting banget buat kita untuk saling empower each other supaya woman itu punya equal position in the tech. Dan juga tadi menarik banget alasan kenapa Kak Teresa tuh tertarik ke dunia coding dari dengan aplikasi yang Kak Teresa mainin waktu masih muda dan Microsoft Word, dan pengen bisa ciptain hal yang sama gitu. Semoga kedepannya Kak Teresa bisa ciptain software sendiri yang sekeren Microsoft Word or Paint. Nah, tadi dari Kak Teresa sebagai software engineer kan juga sempat dibahas kan ya, untuk kalau engineer itu juga banyak communicate dengan other stakeholder. Salah satunya adalah seorang product manager. Nah, setelah ini kita akan ngobrol-ngobrol banyak dengan salah satu speaker kita, yaitu Kak Wimala Puspa, yaitu Senior Product Manager di Bukalapak dan juga alumni dari Fakultas Teknik the batch 2012. For Kak Wimala, the floor and the time is yours.
Hi semuanya. Thank you Rachel for introducing me. My name is Wimala and I'm gonna talk more about women in product management in this first session. Let's go to the next slide, please. So before going to my material, I want to introduce myself first. So my name is Wimala Puspa, as introduced before, but you can call me Wimala. I'm from Industrial Engineering, UI, batch 2012. I graduated in December 2015, so it was 3.5 years. But before that, I actually have done a lot of internship during my university year. I started at MRT Jakarta. It was an intern for HR in 2014. And then I went to Deloitte for their user research. And the last internship that I did in uni is to BCG as a summer BA, where I got the full-time offer there. That's why after I graduated, I went directly to BCG as a business analyst. So it was in 2016 until 2017, until I finally pivoted to tech when I went to Traveloka as associate product manager back in 2017. So I spent a year there as an associate product manager, and then I got promoted to product manager. So the total is almost 2 years in Traveloka before I finally moved to Bukalapak, which is my current job now as a senior product manager. For those of you who don't know about Bukalapak, maybe you from Malaysia, Bukalapak is one of the biggest e-commerce in Indonesia, and we're also one of the unicorns in tech companies in Southeast Asia. So both Traveloka and Bukalapak are unicorns. And now, other than Bukalapak, I also am volunteering in Women Works as a product director. They call me, but I don't know if I am. I feel like I'm just a product lead. But basically, Women Works is a startup, a very new startup to empower women too, similar to Women in Business, but we're focusing more on mentorships. But I want to talk about that more. I will go directly to the product management. So next slide, please. Yeah, what is it like to be a product manager? Next. I don't want to talk more about what product management do at start, but I will go straight to the challenges that I have as a product manager. So for those of you who don't know or not familiar with what is product manager, basically product manager is someone that has to work in between the UX, which is the user experience or the design, just like Hana, the tech, just like Teresa, or all of the other software engineers or whatever you want to call it, app developer, or front-end developer, or back-end engineers, and also the business part, which is usually either the business team or even the top management, like the COO, the CEO, or the CPO, whatever you name it. And you have to be someone in the middle who have to defend all of your team members there, where you have to fight for the business to the UX and tech, but somehow to the UX, you have to talk about tech. Before the tech, you have to talk about UX and somehow defend each other when you talk to the other person, the other one. So it's pretty much you're somewhere in the middle of everything because you own the product. That's why I put it there as a person who fully owns the product and be the center of business design and technology. But is it really only this three part if you are a product manager? Unfortunately, no. Next. So basically, because you are owning the product, you are in the middle of pretty much everything. So including operations, data, marketing, and it really depends on your product. If your product is more about payment products, you can also be in the middle of finance team. Or sometimes when you have a product that is more like trivia and you have to deal with the government, because kadang kalau undian gitu suka banyak aturannya, yes, you have to also deal with legal. So basically, yes, you have to know everything and handle a lot of stuffs in your product. But unfortunately, you are not everyone's boss. So I will talk more about agile organizations, but mostly in tech companies, product manager is not the boss of UX, of tech, of business, of data, of marketing, of operations. I believe Teresa and Hana has their own managers like data managers and engineering managers, but product managers has to also inspire them to be able to work together, to collaborate. Even product manager is not their boss. They have their own managers. So it's a tricky part, and that's the challenge that I've been facing. And yes, unfortunately, it's not anyone's boss, but definitely number one to blame for everything related to your product. Well, I actually kind of quote this from next, Marty Kagan. Marty Kagan is like the god of product management. Sorry, next. Yep. Marty Kagan, this guy, the bald guy here, is basically like the god of product management. You have to read his book called Inspired. He said that when a product succeeds, it's because of everyone on the team. But when a product fails, it's definitely the product manager fault. That's very sad, but kind of true. That's why, because product manager has a very high responsibility. I want to show you on the next slide. the responsibility of product management is a lot. Number one is you have to have deep knowledge of customer. Yes. So you also have to defend your UX team, right? Like if I'm in a team with Hana, I will defend Hana for supporting users when I talk to the business team or when I talk to the tech team. Sometimes the design team will say that we need to build A because A is something that the users needs. But then the tech team will somehow say that, oh, it's super hard to implement the A. Why don't we just do B, which is the simpler one? And as a product manager, we have to be the one who decide and whether you need to pursue with the A or you can pursue with the B, but somehow tweak it a little so that the needs that we want to get for the users still achieved. Stuff like that. So you have to have deep knowledge of the customer and always put customers first. Number two is deep knowledge of data. So basically, yes, if you work as a product manager or whatever is your role in a tech company, you will usually have your data analyst or data scientist. But then you have to also know about data. You have to have deep data acumen. Why? Because usually data analysts and data scientists will help you to do the analysis of data. But then what are the data that you want them to look at is based on what you request them. So you have to know what data that you need. And because of that, you also need to know like how to make use of the data analysis so that you know the so what of the data. Sometimes you can get like, data that your sales is going down. That's it. So what you can do about knowing that the sales is going down? Are you going to move to another company because it's failing? Of course not. So you have to think about it, like what makes the sales is going down? You need to know what kind of breakdown that you need to do in order to get the real root cause of the sales that is declining, and you can make action about it. You can take action and see what are the solutions that you can provide in order to keep the sales back up. So that's about the data. And then next is deep knowledge of business. So as you also have to fight for the business, you have to also think about how to make your product profitable. Maybe not in day one, but how to make it at least monetizable in the future. Of course, it's not sustainable for you to build product that is full of subsidy from the company. Like you have to ask the company's money to give promos and stuff, because it's not sustainable at all. So you have to also think about how to increase the business part of your products. The last two ones is deep knowledge of market and industry. So you have to know what the market needs, not just the customers wants, but also about the bigger market. Like what are your competitors doing? What are the best market in the world are doing, where you maybe can copy or follow, learn from them, and stuff like that. So you have to know about what are the markets, what is on the industry. And the last one, but definitely not the least, is that you have to always be smart, creative, and persistent. Why persistent? Because maybe the product that you're building may not succeed at the first day, on day one, or on the first week, or on the first month. But you have to be that persistent to know what else that you can do to improve your products, and keep doing that so that you can see the result and the impact as big as possible. Next. So basically, if you want to know what are the product managers do, is basically I group it into these four, and I put it in the loop because I know that it's not just like a process, but it's a keep going process. So the first one is on the product discovery. It's actually pretty similar to the one that Hana has presented before, where in the product discovery is where you discover the products based on two things. If I can come up with the theory myself. The first one is based on the company OKR, or objectives and key results, where you need to see where the company is going, where the company is now focusing on. When you know what the company is focusing on, then you can come up with the list of products based on what the user needs. So I will talk more about that later. And I think my time is okay. I have another 5 minutes. I'm gonna make it super quick. Then the second one is the interaction design and prototyping, where the UX designer will help you to come up with the design of the product that you're making. And then next is the product development, where you finally detail out your requirements to the engineering. So the engineering will build your product the way you want it to be. And of course, you still have to closely monitor that so that you can test it and ensure the quality of the product that you're building. And the last but not least, about the launch and monitoring. So after you launch the product, you don't just launch it, but you have to see whether the product is working or not by keep monitoring the data. And if the product is not yet working, Why? You have to take actions about it. Maybe it doesn't have enough people who tries it, then you have to push for marketing. Or if it really is not working, then you have to do another research to check how you can improve your product. Basically that, maybe I'm gonna skip some slides if you can go next. Yeah, so basically in terms of the first one of the product discovery, as there are two parts. The first one is the seek opportunity based on the data. So we got insights from data and user research, and we define who our users is. We get to know their pain points. And then we ask the 5 whys to check if the solutions that we want to propose is really the solutions for the problem. Because sometimes the problems that we see is not really the problem. If we go to the next slide, what is problem? Basically, most of you may know that problem is the gap between the current situations and the ideal ones. But ideal can be so vague. It can be, like living in heaven or something like that. So you have to know what is your definition of ideal. And by that, you need to see the pain points that the user is facing, that the user is experiencing, which we call it as problems. And the problems can be divided into 4. This is from the Mertikagen 2, which is the usability issue, where the user don't know how to use the product. Number 2 is the viability issue, where the user doesn't know the value of the product, so they don't want to use it. Number 3 is on the profitability issue, which is the business part, if the product is not profitable. And the last one is the feasibility issue. If you want to build the product so good that the tech team think that it's not feasible to be built. The next one is on the, so next. It's the introduction design and prototyping. Basically, usually Hana has described it before on how it works between the product managers and the design, where we do brainstorm to answer the how might we, and then we build the facade, which is the prototype where we will test the product that we're going to build directly to the user, so that we know we get direct feedbacks whether the product is working or not. And so yeah, that's basically what you do to do the interaction design and prototyping. Next. And usually what we do for the interaction design and prototyping is this. This is a sprint from Jake Knapp. I'll share the detail of the book later if you guys want to know more about it. Next. So the product development, basically it's about the development part. Teresa will know better for this one. And it's to basically run with the agile team to work in sprints to make sure that you have a speed delivery for the products and ensure you don't miss the moment. So as the product manager, you also have to be the project manager, where you ensure that the delivery time is not, long from the targeted deadline. Next. So basically, this is the agile organization. In tech companies, usually we don't work as, traditional organizations like in big companies. So we work in tribes, and within the tribes, there is a smaller squads, which usually handle like 1 product per squad. And for each squad, usually it will have product manager, designer, engineers, sometimes operations, and usually there will be data team and a product marketing that will be in charge for that squad. So this is how I work, and that's what I mentioned to you, where I may not be the boss for everyone, but at least for the squad, I'm like the business boss there, not the functional. Next. So how the sprints, actually, I thought I have another slide there. Okay, never mind. For launch and monitoring, go back, please. Yes, for launch and monitoring, basically 2 things that we're going to do is, first one, we have to ensure that the products that we're building and launching has enough traffic. That's why we need to boost the marketing for the product that we're building. And after we do the launch, we need to monitor closely about the metrics. We need to see the tractions of the product, whether if it's working or not. And don't forget to always get user feedback after you launch the product, so that you know if the user really loves your product or not. And you can check if there is, there are pain points or not from the user point of view while they're using your product, so that you can discuss with the team on what's next. That is where you go back to the loop. You go back to the product discovery and discover another product that you have to build after you do the launch and you get the user feedbacks. Next. Last but not least, I want to talk more about facts or faux. Basically, which one are the facts, which one are the faux? You guys can guess from these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one are the false and which one are the right one? The answers is next. Basically, you have to be able to code. Is it a fact or a faux? It's a faux, just like what Hana just mentioned. You don't have to be able to code. I'm a product manager and I can't do coding. I did learn SQL, I think, back in university, but I completely forgot about that. I learned again, but yeah, basically I still don't know how to code. But honestly, if you know how to code, it will help you to succeed. Yes, it will, because now that I kind of understand what's the difference between back end and front end, what do they do, which product I should build in front end, what product I should build in back end, is something that really helps me to decide what product that I want to build, and also decide the product roadmap that I want to make. So yes, it will help you definitely. Number 2, flexible working hour and can work from home. Yes, just like what Hana just said, you can work anywhere as long as you get your work done. So it's nice that it's flexible and you can wear any clothes to the office. Like you can wear like shorts or whatever you want to wear. The third one, startups have low pay rates. False. No. Basically, I moved from consulting to startups because I think only startups could afford me back then. No kidding. But basically, startups can pay so much. It really depends on which role that you choose and which startups that you're going to. And yeah, they really value their employees. So it's a place to work at if you're looking for money. It's a male-dominated world. Facts or faux? Yes, it's facts. Unfortunately, even I'm a product manager, there's still a lot of male product managers out there, especially for engineers. That's why kudos for Teresa for being a women tech there, because I know it's a minority, but it doesn't mean that you're being discriminated or something. No. So yeah. And the last one, it's a bubble. Startup, I forgot what did I put there. It's a bubble. Startup don't really make money. No, it's not right. I moved to Traveloka and Bukalapak because both Bukalapak and Traveloka does make money. They do make money. They have a legit, profitability system where we know where we can make profit from. So if you think that it's a bubble, no. But some startups are burning so much money, yes, but it doesn't mean that it's a bubble. You can also find startups that really make money and is sustainable. So last but not least from me, next slide, please. Basically, if you want to work at startup, especially for small startup, I think I have the last slide here, but never mind. I wanted to say the Steve Jobs quotes. Basically, if you want to work at startups, you have to be the one who know what you're working on, because you are not hired because you're smart and being told what to do, but you have to be the one who tell people what to be done. So that's it. I'm giving it back to Rachel.
Thank you so much, Kak Wimala, for the insightful presentation. We learned a lot about the end-to-end process of product management does, or more like a loop life cycle. And also the interesting part of being the product manager is not anyone boss, but when there is something wrong, you will be blamed for that. But also there is a fulfilling part because you need to know the helicopter view. You work with the data team, the tech, the designer team, even though you are not specific detail to know that, but you need to know the whole process, even the marketing or operations or even the legal part. Okay, so thank you for Kak Wimala, Kak Teresa, and Kak Hana for the presentation in the first session. We will move to the Q&A session. Okay, I will be okay. The first question. Okay, this is from Slido. The first question will be for Kak Hana. For those who just started to learn from UI UX, where should we start from to learn the UI UX?
Hello, Rachel. Do I answer first or?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hello. Thank you for asking. Actually, I'm going to cover that in my next presentation. So yeah, you can just wait. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this is for Kak Wimala. Do you think product manager career is going to be the high demand in the future?
I believe yes. Actually, up until now, it's still a very high demand, and we still have a very low supply. So I think we still need a lot of good product managers in Indonesia, especially that also we still don't have like a specific study for product management. That's why the resource is very scarce. So if you're interested to be product management, I believe it's a bright future for you. So yeah, be product managers, please.
We need more product manager. Okay, so this question is for all the speakers. What was the biggest challenge in your job and how did you handle it? Maybe for Teresa first to answer.
I think my biggest challenge was how did I transition between the mindset of a student, like working in projects, to working in a real life where you can't always just ask for guidance to your professors, but you need to find it yourself. Like, I think being independent was my challenge. And maybe like not having women around as well is pretty harsh, I guess. So yeah, but it's gonna be fine if you believe in yourself, right?
Thank you, Teresa. Maybe for Hana.
Okay, so I think what's tough is communication because it's hard to achieve consistency as there's are going to be like conflicting needs from different stakeholders. So we cannot expect everyone to be on the same wavelength. And it doesn't matter if you're a woman in tech, as long as you can communicate your thoughts in a well-structured way with confidence, you will not feel like you're lower than the rest of the team because everyone here is learning. Being in startup, working in startup means that, yeah, you are open to learning lots of different things. And so, yeah, as long as you don't feel down, as long as you feel like you should keep on learning, I think that would be, yeah, I think it would be fine, yeah, for I think,
Okay.
yeah, that's for me.
Okay, thank you, Hana. And how about you, Wimala?
I think for me, the biggest challenge working in tech is about delivering impact. Back when I was in consulting, what I did is I created great slides, solutions for the clients, but the clients will do all of the execution themselves. So I didn't really see the results of the solution that I proposed. But here in tech, what you do is you make something that will deliver impact. And sometimes it can be very frustrating if the solutions that you propose somehow doesn't really move the needle. That's why it is very challenging, but it also really moves you forward, and it gives you, I think, more than just satisfactions where the solutions that you propose and you build is finally achieved the number and help the users. As for me, now that I'm working for merchants products to help sellers to sell the products, when I talk to them and they say that they're very helped with the product I built, it's super satisfying. So yeah, but in order to achieve that, it's very challenging. I think that's that.
Thank you so much, Wimala, for that.
Rachel,
And this
can
is
I
for,
add another challenge for software as well?
yeah, sure.
Um, also I think working with UX and product is really difficult as well when you try to explain something to them, but you kind of think like assuming context as an engineer. So I'm still kind of learning for it.
Yeah, you know what, Teresa? My first month when I worked in Traveloka, I stressed out because I couldn't talk to my engineers. Like, I just didn't understand what they say, and it took me
Yeah,
a month.
I think that's like really a disease.
Yeah.
That's also my problem.
But we'll get through that.
Yeah,
We'll get through that, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer. And moving on to the next question. In the tech company, they are still discriminating from a woman. And how do you respond to that issues? Maybe start with Kahana.
Yeah, I think you should always be confident when you want to deliver what you want to say. Like we should be able to defend your thoughts, your statements, your opinion. Like you don't have to be afraid that your voice is not going to be heard as long as you make it make it straight to the point and make a well structured statements, and you don't because UX design doesn't just design based on assumptions. So you have to really have like data to back it up. And yeah, as long as you keep on making everything objective, I guess you should never be afraid that your voice is not going to be heard. Yeah, and everyone should be like, should have like should keep an open mind. So I guess if you work in a team where you don't feel like you're being heard, yeah, I think you should really be able to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up, and don't be afraid to ever defend your opinion, because being a woman in tech means that you have to face lots of different stakeholders, different people, and some people are like just want to well, what is it like, they just want their opinion heard, but don't want to listen to each other due to their different needs. So I guess you should be able to be courageous every time.
Thank you, Hana, for the answer. For Kawimala, what about you?
For me, I think I haven't really experienced discriminations in tech, but usually when I speak, I always try to back back my arguments with data. So as long as you're talking based on data, you're strong. Like you're undefeatable. How you call it? Yeah, you're basically invincible if you're based on data. And that's why I want to encourage everyone to do, not just ladies, but also for the guys out there. Always back what you're saying with data and be confident with what you're saying. And if you're still getting discriminations, go talk to your managers, please. Each of the company will have code of conduct, and you can definitely speak up if you find some of your colleagues are, putting you down or underestimating you.
Thank you for the answer, Kawimala. How about you, Kak Teresa?
I think discrimination happens everywhere, but I'm pretty lucky to be in a company where we're actively trying not to, and I'm really happy that all the tech companies are moving towards getting in diversity, getting a proper code of conduct. But yeah, I've shared some tips or my thoughts about how to manage this felt masculinity before, so I hope that was helpful.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kak Teresa, for the answer. And moving on to the next questions. Have you ever doubted yourself for pursuing the role you're in right now? And how did you overcome with it? Start from Kak Hana.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Have you ever doubted yourself for pursuing this role? And how did you overcome with it?
Yeah, actually, I have doubted myself lots of times before when I was still in university, because as you all know, I'm from architecture, and sometimes I ask myself, like, is it really my passion? Is it really what I like to do? And so I started to try different roles to different companies from architecture firm, and then I thought that that wasn't really where I wanted to be. And then I tried having an internship in a fintech startup in marketing, graphic design team, but it still feels like it's not really actually where I want to be. So I decided to move to Traveloka, where I interned as a researcher there, and actually uh, really like the opportunity and the feel of actually being part of this tech startup. So then I began trying to get a different role now as a UX designer in Tokopedia, which is an e-commerce company, one of the largest also e-commerce like Bukalapak. And I felt like, oh, this is really where this is where I want to be. This is the role that I really like to have. So yeah, I adapted myself a few times, and then I never really limit myself to try new things, and now I'm here. So yeah, but in a way, I'm also proud of myself for like trying different roles and to different companies before, just because I never feel I think I never felt afraid of failing, because there's nothing as failing when it comes to learning new things. Thank you.
That's a good last sentence. And maybe for Wimala, what about you?
I doubted myself, and maybe I want to use present tense for that. I still doubt myself until now. I always do. Like, I always think like I'm not good enough. That's a bad thing. Do not copy me for that. But basically, every time I feel that is usually because I feel that things are getting very challenging for me. Like, it's very easy for me to just back off, to just kayak nyerah aja gitu. But then I go back to two things. Number one is on the purpose. Like, I reflect again, like, what is my life purpose, what is it, the goal that I want to achieve. And I still believe that being a product manager is the baby steps for me to achieve that. That's why I still believe in myself to keep pursuing this product management career. And number two is quoting Dr. Carol from Mindset book, if you have ever read that. Basically, in mindset, there is these two mindset, right? The fixed mindset and the growth mindset. People with fixed mindset will always think that they're smart. So when people say that they're wrong, they will be downed because they think that the smart people will not be wrong, will not fail. While if you have the second mindset, which is the growth mindset, every time people give you feedback, every time you get a setbacks or like a failure, you will see that as an opportunity for you to grow. As a, it's a very direct feedback for you, that which part of you that you need to improve, that which part of you that you need to grow so that you can be a better person. So I always try to stick with that growth mindset with me. So every time I feel like I want to quit, I want to stop doing this, I will see it from the growth mindset perspective, that okay, then I need to improve myself, I need to be better, and just keep pushing. That's it.
Thank you, Wimala, for the tips about the growth mindset. It's very useful. And for Teresa, what about you, Kak?
I remember I felt really out of place when I got the internship because there was a time where we were converting to full-time and we need to do a technical interview, and they were so good, and I felt like so dumb, like dumb and dumber. But I think what made me realize is, one, I don't need to compare myself to anyone. And even if I compare myself to them, it should be for growth, like see from them, like what can I take from them. And the second one is that, well, to be called good, I don't have to be good at everything. I could be better at something else. Maybe I was better at, I don't know, writing features or something. So I'm kind of still feel like, why am I here? But I think that was well said, that to be confident and just remember that you're here because you're capable of it. Still learning for it. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Teresa, and thank you so much for all the speakers. And we are at the end of the Q&A session. Thank you for the impressive answers. Hope it helps us to have a clear understanding about what does it like to work in the tech company. So moving on to the next session, which is how to hack a tech career. Hana will be presenting the first material, which is how to hack a UI UX design career. So Hana, the place and time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. And first, thanks, Wimala and Teresa for sharing. I feel really honored that I can be sharing with inspiring people like Wimala and Teresa in this session. Yeah, it's a really great feeling. Next, yeah. So how to land a UX job. So these are just some of the few examples that I found on LinkedIn. As you can see, there will be like lots of people posting job vacancies such as like Link Aja, Tokopedia, Tunaiku, SmartFriend, as a demand for UX designer is still growing. But there will also be lots of applicants all wanting to have a job. Like you can see like say Link Aja has over 200 applicants, and like actually all of the screenshots here has over 200 applicants. So the question is, how do you become the right person among all the blue ones? How do you shine? Yeah, well, so the first one, the easiest one is through your CV and design portfolio. Because if you're applying as a UI UX designer, the company would want to see your design first. Like, otherwise, how would they be able to know that you're good? Next. Okay, so the common mistake in a design portfolio is when someone asks you when you made something and then you answer it saying that you design it because you like it. Why is this such a fatal mistake? Because what you like and what I like can be different. I mean, as a UX designer, you have to design for people, not only for yourself. So your design should be able to communicate the message to everyone, not just to yourself. If you go to Dribble, as my screenshot, is one of the most famous sites to showcase the projects. You will see that everyone has their, like, really good visuals. So how can you stand out? How can you stand out? And the answer is that you have to have a well-written and comprehensive portfolio that communicates your design end to end. So you have to put your the introduction, the goals, the constraint, the process, the solution, and the results. If you don't have a well-written one, how can the recruiters trust that you will be able to communicate what you did, and how can you communicate your whole thinking process? So you cannot just upload your final design without putting all the information inside your portfolio. Next. Yeah, so I'm going to just quickly go through this. So these are the things that would set your portfolio apart. You would have to be you have to be able to communicate your end-to-end process, starting from stating the problem that you had to solve, and then how you came up to your proposed solution and how your solution solved the problem. Because the company would like to know how your solution answers the problem, and also the challenges you face, the design concepts that weren't pursued. Because you will go through lots of process in which you have to really make sure that you are designing for people that answers people needs. So you will have many options at first, but then you would have to be able to describe why the concepts were not pursued, why you chose the one. Yeah, and then how would the project affected the users and the business also, and then what you learn. Yeah, and these are very important when you are writing your portfolio. Next. So to make it simple enough, these are the portfolio format. I'd like you to see this table on what should be inside the portfolio to make sure that it communicates everything. So to help you be more specific, within the scope, you have to be able to write everything, to explain everything, the context of your project, from the quick summary of the product, and also the statement, why did the project need to happen, what was the goal, and why was the goal like that. Yeah, what was the desired outcome, and then who are you designing for. This is very critical because when you design something for Asian people and for European people, let's say, it would be different. So yeah, this is very crucial when it comes to designing for user. And also the responsibilities, like what did you do, who else worked on this, because the recruiter would want to see how well you can collaborate with each stakeholders, and do you involve the relevant stakeholders within this project. And also the scope, are there any unique or limiting factors, such as the budget, the timeline, or the time zones. Yeah, and then also the process and what you did. This is also very crucial, why you did what you did, and also the outcomes, obviously, what happened in the end. Does your design help solve the problem, or uh, are the goals achieved, and are there any lessons learned? Next. yeah, here and also in what happened, you have to be able to explain the process and what you did. So you have to answer all these questions to ensure that you go beyond the surface level also only. Like you have to make sure you write like what did you do and what methods that you use when you were designing this, and why did you do it, like why did you choose that research methods, because as you know, there are lots of different research methods that you can take and that you can choose, and you have to be able to choose which one best answers the problem that you're trying to solve, and like what was the result, did you achieve what you were trying to design for, like the research goals, and then what did you learn, like anything unique, would you do differently if you had the time, let's say. Next. Yeah. Yeah, and I think this is you have to like really be able to be comprehensive, because who would like to read a really long report? You have to highlight what you did and keep it simple, keep it to the point, and be straightforward, like make it straightforward about what you did. Because yeah, I think if you write a really long report, it would be like very tiring for the recruiters when they are assessing your portfolio. Yeah. Next one. So moving on to the typical hiring process, and each company will have a different hiring process, but more or less, I think this is what I can sum up from my previous experience. First one would be like connecting with the recruiter through LinkedIn or some other job portals, such as like JobStreet, and then phone call, where the recruiter would ask questions about my experience, like expectation from me and from the company, to make sure that we are on the same page. And the next one is portfolio review. So the portfolio that I just explained to you will be reviewed by the design team to see the approach that you take to arrive at the eventual design. And then after that, they would have like a portfolio call. This is your chance to be able to communicate your design process. So you have to walk through your design process to the people, elaborate your thinking process and how you measure the design results and impact. This is when the team would assess your communicating skill. And also after that, I think this one is sometimes it can be there in a company, and sometimes it's not there. This is an on-site case study. So when I was in Gojek, I had this on-site case study where the team would assess you, like how you approach a problem, how you come up to the solution, and the design relevance to the problem. This was like almost 4 hours. So in these 4 hours, I would be collaborating with 4 people, 4 of them which are designers, but they were role playing as engineers and PMs. So yeah, the team was trying to assess me whether I can collaborate well and whether I can come up with the good solution under the time limit, and like yeah, like that. And the last one is the interview with the design head. So this is like culture fit questions, like expectation from the company and what your expectation to the company is. So I think if you pass all the first stages, I think this one would not be a difficult one. So basically, they just want to know your expectations to the company, and yeah, obviously their expectation towards you. Next one. Yeah, and these are the what ifs. Like I've had questions from my friends saying that, what if I'm only just starting out? Well, there's always a first time in everything. Like me, on my last year of university, I decided to learn UI UX. So there's always a first time in everything. You don't have to feel like you are that you're late. And also, what if I had never made a design portfolio? Yeah, you have to start making one as soon as possible with all the contents that I've just described before. So you have to make sure that you are designing something that is useful and that you have a goal, and then your design your solution answers these problems. And also, if you don't have a real project to begin with, you can start from finding something like a website or app or flow that you don't like, and you can redesign it and make sure that you communicate your end-to-end thinking process, because that's what the company would like to hear from you. It doesn't have to be a real project. That's from my previous experience, because I was from architecture, so I didn't get any chance to like help develop an app or something like that. So it's all right as long as you can communicate your design well. Next. Yeah, okay. And this is what you need to do to land a UI UX design job. We have 3 C's, be curious, be comprehensive, and be confident. So the first one is be curious. Please, next, please. Yeah. This is to answer the question that I was asked before. So yeah, you can start by learning more through these online learning platforms. You can go through Coursera or Udemy or Interaction Design Foundation, sorry, and then or probably Glenn's expert class. So you can learn new things from these learning portals, and some are free and some you have to pay, but yeah, it depends. And also you can involve more in communities, because they also like to share experience, knowledge, reviewing each other's designs. You can involve more in like UX Indonesia or Dunia Dalam Design, which is like a UX community that is growing, or Slack. You can find some relevant groups. And also the third one is to showcase your portfolio through the Dribble or Notion or Behance, because yeah, it's where you can actively showcase your design, and then you can put up your whole thinking process, like how you came up to that design there. And it's also quite a good idea for you to showcase that design, because companies can probably try to approach you through these this apa ya namanya, tempat inilah buat ngupload desain ini gitu. And last but not least, land a product related internship gitu. So di sini ya kayak you should never limit yourself by your title or by your background in university gitu. Jadi ya di sini benar-benar benar-benar kayak cobain dulu, apply aja gitu, make sure that requirements-nya kamu meet gitu. Kalau enggak ya misalnya kayak kamu dari jurusan yang nggak sesuai, kan sekarang kan product or design nggak punya kayak harus dari jurusan apa gitu, nggak punya kayak jurusan yang spesifik. Jadi it's your chance to be able to learn as much as you can, abis itu ya kamu apply gitu. Next one, this one is comprehensive. So it's in terms of communicating, because it's not just about designing, it's how about you deliver your ideas. It's very important to like walk through your design process. Yeah, you also have to describe the key takeaways and how you measure the impact of your design. Next one. The next one is to be confident. You should never doubt yourself. Don't be afraid of rejection, because you will never know if you never try, and it never hurts to try. Obviously, you have to take everything as a learning. Don't feel bad if you don't instantly land a job or land an internship at the place that you want, because there are many factors that might hinder you from getting that position at that time. But don't worry, we all fail at some point. So we need to make sure that it would never it would never bring us down. And you should see learning as a way to trying to improve. And sometimes when you don't get that position, it doesn't mean that you are bad. It just means that probably the company is just not looking for people, or just you're not that fit for that role right now. But it doesn't mean that you're not fit for that role in a different company. Jadi jangan pernah you feel down lah gitu kalau emang kayak nggak di respon sama suatu perusahaan. Yang penting coba gitu. Kayak it doesn't hurt to apply for internships. Dan ya kayak make sure that the requirements ya bisa kalian capai gitu. Okay, next. Ini to sum it up sih, why am I into UX design gitu ya, kayak because I feel a sense of fulfillment coming out with designs that my users find useful gitu. Jadi kayak kalau dulu di arsitek gitu, kan cuma tahu kayak how my clients feel about the color or aesthetics of the design gitu, tapi sekarang kita benar-benar bisa ada data juga yang bisa kayak defend gitu. Ini yang kayak udah disebut sama Kak Wimala, jadi kayak kita benar-benar bisa punya stance yang strong gitu, karena kita punya data to back it up. Jadi kita desain sesuatu based on user, and we design something for the user gitu, based on the data. We know whether our design works or not based on the data. Kalau misalnya ada kayak improvement, saya kayak jadinya kita mencapai sebuah goal yang emang udah di-set di awal, kan pasti happy gitu. Dan itu bisa di-track, nggak cuma sekedar ini desainnya kelihatannya jelek nih, kalau dipasang ini kayak orang-orang nggak ada yang lihat, karena itu bukan sesuatu yang bisa kita track. Kalau cuma ngelihat misalnya kayak graphic design di jalan atau kayak rumah yang dibuat gitu, itu kan susah untuk kayak ngulang lagi, untuk bikin lagi ulang, kayak misalnya dirombak dari awal. And how to know if you're into UX design? If you like learning, solving problems, endless innovating, communicating and negotiating with stakeholders, definitely, and mostly creating good experience for users. Next one. I think that's the end of my presentation. Hopefully that's clear enough. Hopefully, it would be useful for each and every one of you. If you have any questions, like after this, we will have like a Q&A, or you can directly contact me after this if you want your portfolio to be reviewed, or if you want to ngobrol-ngobrol aja gitu sama aku, I would be very glad to be able to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hana, for the presentation and for the warm welcome to contact her to review the design and stuff. And I would like to sum up what Hana has been said. It is, since there is no dedicated major for UI UX, so it's very open for everyone from all majors. And also don't be afraid to, if it's too late, because there's always the start for everything. And also there are a lot of community that can support you if you are into the UI UX designer. Okay, so for the next session, we will be hearing the stories from Kak Teresa about how to hack a hacker, which is the software engineer. So Kak Teresa, the plus and the time is yours. Hello, Kak Teresa.
Oops, sorry, I was muted, sorry. Thank you, Rachel. Jadi kali ini kita bakal bahas kayak how to get into software engineering career as a software engineer. Next slide, please. Jadi, what are we looking for you as a software engineer is, during the interview, is your ability to solve the problem and how you communicate that with us. Jadi, biasanya format interview tiap company itu beda-beda. But at Google, buat software engineer biasanya tuh 45 menit on-site call phone interview. Biasanya 5 menit ngobrol awal, just tell me about yourself. Terus 35 menit like coding, the technical interview. And then another 5 minutes just for you to ask questions about, for example, how does it feel like working there, or if you have any questions about the technology. Terus, well, sekarang sih gara-gara COVID, I suppose semua tech company pada online ya interviewnya. But usually, juga ada namanya on-site interview, which happens after you pass the phone interviews, dimana kita instead of ngejelasin nge-solve solusinya di online, like Google Docs or something, ngerjainnya di whiteboard. Atau beberapa perusahaan juga pakai ngetik tapi di project gitu. Ada proyeksi gitu. So it's like in person at their office. Next slide, please. Okay, what should we prepare for the job? For getting to job, first one is definitely resume. Karena kalau apply harus resume, kalau nggak ada resume, kalau nggak lolos this part, nggak bisa dapat interview, karena nggak mungkin dong company interview semua orang yang apply. So how can you stand up for your resume? Do a lot of stuff, but it needs to be an impactful project, not just like stuff that you just do. Kerjain proyek tuh banyak banget di online, various things that you can do, kayak which I will explain later. Then I also often receive questions like, what if I'm not into one field? Like, what if nowadays, like, machine learning is a very hot topic, but what if I just, oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. What if I'm pretty like here and there? Gimana kalau aku suka juga security, tapi aku juga suka machine learning, aku juga suka ini itu. Nggak apa-apa, well, especially as long as you're a student, you're still exploring, so it's gonna be fine. Jangan lupa measure the impact that you've done on the resume. Jadi jangan cuma tulis, misalnya, I implemented this. Tapi juga bilang kayak, ini matriksnya apa yang naik, misalnya trafficnya naik 5% gitu. Like, make it quantitative as well. Terus, kalau udah lolos resume, to the interview stage, itu pastinya bakal data structure and algorithm. Kadang kalau ada juga system design, but it depends on the companies as well. Jadi kita mau lihat problem solvingnya, so you should really prepare like the coding interview, which we will talk about later. Next slide, please. So as a student, sometimes we see on the career side, kayak dibutuhkan magang minimal pengalaman 10 tahun. Yeah, just for example. What if I don't have any job yet? Like, what if I'm already so full of college stuff, college work? Well, some things that you can do is find your own projects. Could be make something that you find useful, or at least make your life easier. Like, for example, some people make, like, I heard people make Discord bots, or like, I made this stupid app for like, to like keep you running, and then if you didn't type for like 5 seconds, it will erase everything away. So that's kind of like a weird thing to do, but if you find it useful and you kind of showcase your coding skill, sure, put it online. And then other things to try is also contribute to open source projects. Could be like a network and stuff. There's so many open source projects out there that if you use it and even you think like, there are some flaws in here, I wish it has this one. So you can always contribute that. And do competitions. We often heard about, like, in software engineering, like competitive programming, it's not the only competition that can get to a software engineering job. You can also do like development competitions, like business case or products. There are lots of opportunities out there. And also, you can also be a teaching assistant. We're pretty lucky in our uni to have such a system where you can apply to be a teaching assistant. And also, other than that, join various online internships or projects as well. Go summer code. What else? Do like hacker ranks and stuff, because they also have like a projects and competitions. Next slide, please. All right, so now we kind of get over the resume and how to prepare for the interview. You need to practice, and the most popular coding sites that software engineer uses are HackerRank, and LeetCode. And I think the book Cracking a Coding Interview as well is pretty popular. So one thing that I find really helpful is when you do online coding, you're alone, right? But when you're working on it, try to do as if you are doing a phone interview. So like while typing, just talk to yourself. How would you explain this? Like try just as if it was interview. So not just like, oh yeah, just code and stuff. And most importantly, do mock interviews. Ask your friends or your seniors or anyone who wants to do mock interview. I think there's a website online called Prep, which is doing mock interview with each other. So you kind of change role. I found that was useful as well. Next slide, please. So the common mistakes I often found on the interviews are people just jump into code without explaining the approach, which is why I kind of suggested to try to talk as if you're explaining code while you're practicing. Karena misalnya dikasih problem, terus langsung ngetik-ngetik gitu aja. Terus kayak interviewernya like, what are you doing? I don't know. I don't understand. So, jadi jangan lupa always explain because there might be some edge cases atau some ambiguous things that you actually need to verify. Terus yang kedua, premature optimization. This is a little bit deep into software engineering or like computer science. So while we're given a problem, kadang kita ada urge untuk finding like the most optimal solution. Tapi what's better than having a partial optimal solution is having a solution. Jadi jangan sampai kayak terlalu mikir needs the solution to be like super optimized sampai kita kayak nggak ngasih solusi yang sebenarnya straightforward but easier to explain first. Terus yang ketiga, by the way, I'm really sorry because like this is pretty deep like into the computer science / software engineering interviews. It's like pseudocoding or not understanding programming language. Jadi kayak karena kita when you're doing an interview, kita dikasih option buat what's your strongest language or like what's your preferred programming language. So make use of that. Knows the stuff that you think will be helpful. And the last one is not testing the code. But there's a problem, there's a case. Try to run the cases. Try to test what you've done to see if that's correct. Just to find mistakes as well. Walk over it with your interviewer. Next slide, please. Final tips. Don't worry too much. Don't panic. Not everything will go well. So not everything is under our control as well. So the best that we can do is practice. Feel free to contact me on email, Teresa Pranyoto@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to give you like resume review. So yeah, thanks for listening to this presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Teresa, for the insightful presentation. We learned about if we want to be the software engineer, don't be afraid if you have still no job experience, but we can spend our college time to do a side project or learn new skills from various websites that you have mentioned before. And also for the code interview, don't jump into the code directly, but show how you approach that code or show the way you're thinking. And also don't forget to be practice and practice. Okay, so we're going to move to the next speakers, which is Wimala. Wimala, the place and the time is yours.
Okay, so how to hack product management career. My first slide is next. Basically on what are the values that you need to have if you want to be a product manager. Well, I actually copied the slide from Traveloka onboarding from product management. Do not screenshot this one and share it because they're gonna kill me maybe because I'm not no longer a Traveloka PMs. But basically, I really love these values that they showed me, and I really hold into this. Which number one is on the user centric. If you want to be a product manager, you have to be user centric. You have to always put your users first, even though you will have to think about the business, you also have to think about the visibility of the development part, but you need to put the user first. You need to always think that finding the product that is really solving users problem, that's one, that is number one. Number two is about the quality, because you are the product manager, the owner of the product. You will always have to take care of the quality, even though you already have the quality engineer team or test engineer or quality assurance team, whatever you want to call it, QA basically. That, but then you as a product manager still need to test your own product to check if the product really useful, really doesn't have usability issues, and working well as you desired. The third one is also one of the most important ones, is about ownership. Basically, most of the time when you're a product manager, you always only care about your product. But basically what you need to do is you own not just your product, but a company's product. So that as a product manager now, even that I got complaints for the product that is not under me, but I still feel like it's my product too. That's why I always take a good care of it. I always try to follow up to the related PMs and follow up if the problem has been resolved. So ownership is number one, and if you have ownership, you will not mind if you have to wake up 1 a.m. in the morning if something's wrong with your product. That's how it takes. But well, if you can plan better at first, of course you will not experience that, but that's how ownership could look like. The fourth one, leadership. As I mentioned before, product manager is not everyone's boss, but you have to inspire everyone to work on the product that you want to build. That's why you need to have that leadership skill where you can influence your engineers, your designers, your data team, your marketing and everything to help you to realize the product that you want to build, to make the product happen. So that's about leadership. And the collaborations is how you can collaborate with other teams, because you will definitely work with multiple stripes, multiple functions, and you have to be the one that is easygoing so that you can connect with anyone easily. And the last one is about agility. So if you guys know, agile is one of the sexiest thing that people say in the tech thingy. Basically, if you are agile, you're not being very strict to your timeline. Not in the sense of that it is okay if the deadline is dragging, no, but even though you have a clear roadmap like A, B, C, D, E that you want to build on the next 1 quarter, but if somehow along the way you need to pivot or you need to do other more important things, then you should be agile to readjust your timeline for that, because that's how tech does. That's how fast paced the dynamic of technology is. So yeah, be agile. Next. This is the ladder of product management career. It really depends on the company. The title and the naming can be very, very different. Like this one is for Traveloka, it's for Bukalapak, but it's also similar to Traveloka. Usually you will start as either business analyst or like associate product management intern, or MT, or whatever you want to call it. Like it's a fresh grad for product management. You can also pivot from business team, then go to product. Sometimes one of my APM is start off as quality engineers, or from designers. You can also do pivot to product managers. But usually if you're a fresh grad, you will start as business analyst. And then if you're lucky, you can also be associate product manager 1, where you usually will handle like one feature out of a product. So usually, like for example, when I was in Traveloka, I handled train, but then maybe only for the specific of train booking, it's handled by my APM. Or if it's just about the train tickets, it's handled by my APM. So APM usually just handle like one feature out of the product. And for APM2, usually they can handle multiple features or even small products. And for PM1, usually they will manage like one product, like the whole end-to-end train ticketing booking, for example, or usually like train or like airport transfer booking. That's like one. When I was a PM1, I handled that whole product myself. PM2 can handle multiple products. Like for example, when I was PM2, I handled train and airport transfer in Traveloka. And usually when you become SPM, you will handle multiple squads. You will handle like multiple products with multiple associate product managers under you. And when you're an SPM2 or senior product manager 2, you will handle like even more squads under you. Like a friend of mine who is SPM2 now handles 6 squads. That's a bit crazy, but yeah, he's still alive by now. And for a head of product, usually you will handle all of the product under one tribe. So it really depends on the scope of the product that you're handling, but that's basically the ladder of a product management. But usually if you want to start off a product management career, people will see how you are experienced in product management. But it's a bit hard because if you are fresh graduates, of course you don't have any product management background. That's why I would highly recommend you to either do projects yourself so that you make your own product. It doesn't have to be digital product. It can be anywhere. It can be anything. But basically, if you have experience in building a system or a product with clear impacts and clear users, it's something that you definitely can brag during your interviews. And other than that, if you can have internships in tech, it will also help you to boost your what you call it, bargaining power when you're doing interviews, so that people will consider you more to become a product manager as a fresh graduates. Next, this is also one of the most important thing. Oh no, not this one. Basically, sorry, the icon should be white. Basically, what are the ammunition that you need to know if you're a product manager? Number one is OKR. Usually, when you start off a quarter, you will make an OKR as a product manager, where O is objectives, KR is key results. You will make a roadmap basically for your quarter. What are you going to build, and based on what objectives and what's key results? It's the North Star metrics that you will be looking at during the quarter, and you have to ensure that you achieve your target by building the products that you know will ensure the metrics to be achieved. So that's OKR. And timeline and roadmap is basically the timeline that you have to keep in order to ensure you deliver all of your objectives during the quarter. PRD is product requirements documents, is where you do requirements for the engineerings after you got the designs. So usually the design team will come up with a lot of UIs where you will detail out the interactions and what data you need there, and what will and all of the corner cases that you can think of, so that the engineers will be easier. It will be easier for the engineers to build your product. Data dashboard is where you monitor your product performance. So you will have a dashboard with a lot of data, usually made by data scientists or data analysts. You can definitely request that to them, but basically there will be like daily progress of your performance, your metrics performance that you have in the OKR. And you can also have a slice and dice of the data, depends on what you need. Task manager, just like what Hana mentioned about Asana, in Bukalapak and Traveloka, we use Jira with the engineering team. That's where we manage the tasks for our team, usually for engineers. Chat groups, we have a lot of chat groups, usually per projects or per squads, per whatever. We have a lot of chat groups in Slack usually. Then monitoring dashboard is more engineering stuff. Usually we have it in Datadog or Grafana or whatever software you use, but basically it's to ensure that your product has enough traffic, but not high enough to make it crash or down or something. So you will have that monitoring dashboard and alerting, where if things go bad, you will be notified quickly and you can just troubleshoot with your engineers. Next. I actually want to deep dive more on this slide. Basically, the left-hand side there is my CV. It is my CV. Now, I just updated it 7 September 2020. I blurred out my personal data like address, date of birth, and phone numbers and emails. But basically, what you need in your CV is simple. You don't need to have it super fancy. Well, if you want to design it, it's up to you. But for me, it's as simple as this Microsoft Word CVs. It's supposed to be one pager, but mine is actually 2 pages because I couldn't fit everything in one page. But basically what you need to have there is first name and bio. Bio is not like the bio you wrote on organizer that you share with your elementary school friend. I don't know if that's still a thing now, but the bio here is just name, phone number, address, email, and I also put date of birth. But email, make sure that your email is your name. Please don't use some silly emails. Please scratch that, make a new one, make your email with your name. I once like rejected an applicant just because I see that the email is very childish. Like I asked her like, why didn't you make a more professional email? The second one is executive summary. Sometimes many people forget about this one, but it's actually the most important one for me. Basically, the executive summary is to show who you are, what you aspire to, and maybe you can also brag a bit about your strength there. So please have executive summary so that people will know who you are just by looking at your. Okay, 5 minutes left. I'm gonna make it quick. Basically, to know who you are in this one paragraph, and after that, then you can have educational experience. There, you can brag anything that you can brag. Trust me, just brag, because if you don't brag, people won't know, and it's like never happened. So if you are graduating 3.5 years, put that. If you're graduating cum laude, put there. So just put anything you can put there. And also if you have like achievements during your college, during your uni, you can definitely put there too. Like if you were a research assistant, if you were achieving what, if you're achieving student, if you're like top 1% of your class, just put everything there. So focus on achievements. For your working experience, I want to echo what Teresa mentioned before, that you have to focus more on the impact that you build, that you give. So it's not just like job desk. Never put job desk under your working experience, but put more quantitative impact there. Like for example, I released airport transfer for Traveloka in just 2 months, and it became the first airport transfer booking platform in Indonesia, something like that. It's convincing, but you need to find a convincing way to show your achievements in your CV. And if you have numbers, like you can, like I achieved 150% of users in Bukalapak 2019 wrap up and stuff like that. I can definitely put that. Next, technical skills. Usually people will put like Microsoft Word or whatever in the technical skill. Well, that's okay. But you know what? If you can put something more relevant like English, like intermediate English, and you can put like a softwares that you can use, or if you're a software engineers, you can put like the languages that you can use. And if you're designers, maybe like some of the softwares that you're very savvy about, you can definitely put that in the technical skills. Then you can also put honors and achievements, where you can list down all of your achievement, usually during college, but make sure that you only put the relevant ones. Like if you're like juara satu lomba makan kerupuk, please do not put that in your CV. Next is the social services. If you love to do volunteering and social services, it's also something that you can put there. It shows that you care about, society and about the world, and it's somehow good for your CV. Basically, people do care about that. So just basically these things. Feel free to screenshots and make up your CV as good as possible. But focus on achievements. Focus on things that can make your bargaining power even more. Next, on the interview, basically my formula for interview, wait, the slide is, yeah, this one. Basically, sorry, my slide somehow broken here, but basically 2 framework that I always use for interview is, the first one is DSPA. This is the framework from McKinsey. If you have read Problem Solving 101 from Ken Watanabe, they have DSPA, define, structure, prioritize, action. Basically, if you are faced with a case interview where you got a problem that you need to solve right away, you can just use DSPA. First, you have to define what the problem is. What is the real problem? And then you structure the problem. You see what are the root causes. And then from the root causes, you can prioritize which are the root causes that is most important for you to solve. After you know what are the root causes that you need to solve, then you can analyze from there and you put action items. So basically that. This one I always use when I did interview in BCG, Traveloka, and Bukalapak, even for online task. Yeah. Usually we'll get an online task to solve some cases. And this one, the one that I will use, basically I will structure the problem first. I will see what is the root cause, what are the the things that I can solve, and then prioritize based on the lowest effort and highest impact. And I'll put that as action items. Basically, know what the problem is, and then so what you will do about it. So after, other than that, if you are being asked about your past experience, like usually interviewer will ask like, what was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it and stuff like that. So when you are being asked that, I will always use STAR framework, which is situation, task, action, and result. So firstly, you will have to explain what was the situations. So you tell the interviewer why you thought it was a challenge, what was the situations, and then what was your task. So usually the situation was like, it was a OKR meeting for Q4, for example. Then I will tell my task, which is, as a product manager, my task is to create the OKR for my squad while checking the OKR from the tribe and the company. So after considering those tribes from those OKRs from the company, I will then translate it to my OKR, for example, like that, the task. And the action is what you did. So what I did when I had to make my squad OKR is, after I translated the tribe OKR and see what my squad can contribute to that, I also see like what the user's pain points is and check which one can actually solve the user problems and achieve the company's goal, stuff like that. And then you show the result. That's the most important thing. So after I come up with the OKR for Q4, then I did all of the product developments and I ended up achieving the OKR, stuff like that. And it would be best if you can also show us numbers. And by numbers, it's not just like 20 million, but you can show what is 20 million. Is it like 50% growth? Is it like 20% growth? And how good it is for your company. So always give more, elaborative informations about your results, about the number, so that the interviewer is convinced that you really, really made great results. I think this is, other than this, next. You can also read a lot of books. I remembered when I did intern in BCG, I was the same batch as Maudi Ayunda. And before she did her interview in BCG, she read one book, Case in Point, just to nail the case interview. So be like Maudi Ayunda, read a lot of books. I did read a lot of books too. Like these 3 books are my ammunitions to be a product manager. Like before I started Traveloka, I read this sprint book by Jake Knapp, The Right One. And when I was in Bukalapak, when I become a senior product manager, I read this Inspired. This is very good. It's like end-to-end product management. All you need to know is in this book. But in the meantime, I also read this Problem Solving 101. It's super fun to read because it has a lot of pictures in the book and easy to understand, but you will nail the DSPA framework from this book. Next. If you also want to know more about things about tech stuffs, always find your own mentor. Like this one is from the Women Works, the second project that I worked in. You can go to womenworks.io, but basically you can find any mentor you see, like from your alumni, from your seniors, or you can go all out to your LinkedIn and find someone that you want to connect with. But mentorships with the right mentor is one thing that I see also very helpful, so that I can get inspired and know what I need to do and focus on for my next career. I think this is my last slide. Next. Basically, from Dale Carnegie, people rarely success unless they have fun in what they are doing. So don't forget to have fun, enjoy what you're doing, and be patient. I think that's that. Thank you so much. Next, if you want to contact me, feel free to contact me through LinkedIn or Instagram. Everything is Wimala Puspa, or you can just go to womenworks.io to know more about great mentors. Thank you. I think you're on mute, Rachel. Yeah.
Thank you, Kak Wimala, for the insightful presentation. I think one of the key takeaways for us as the undergraduate students, if we want to start our career as a product manager, we can start from the other roles in the tech, or we may have a project that we are take responsibility of that project, and it can be measure the impact, and also read books and do the mentoring, and one of it can be done in Women Works. Okay, so we're going to the next session, which is Q&A. Okay. For the first questions, this is from our friends in YouTube. for all panels, for the panelists, is your job really your passion? And how did you find out? And how did you pursue about it? And who did you pursue it? We can start from Teresa.
I think it is my passion. Like doing coding is my passion, problem solving. And how did I find out about that? I think in uni we were given like several choices. Either you can become academia, or you can work as software, or you can choose as a designer or something else. But I did the projects, I did internships, and I find that software engineering is my passion.
Okay. How about you, Hana?
Hello. Yeah, I think in UX design, I feel a sense of like fulfillment coming out with designs that my users find useful. Kan tadi kan aku udah bilang kita bisa nge-track gitu sebenarnya desain kita bisa measure impact-nya segede apa gitu. Dan kita benar-benar tahu sebenarnya actually orang tuh make loh desain kita gitu. Dan ini tuh menurut aku menyenangkan banget untuk tahu ketika orang tuh user benar make desain yang kita buat gitu, yang kita bikin sesuatu yang benar-benar menjawab permasalahan mereka gitu. Dan ini ya salah satu hal yang bikin aku seneng banget karena ya kita selalu learn something new gitu. Kan proyeknya juga beda-beda. Jadi emang ya I think it's my passion.
Okay, how about you, Wimala?
So, well, guys, if I can be very honestly, kayak it's a very hard question for me because I never knew what my passion is. Especially that I went to industrial engineering, which is engineering bencong ya kalau kata orang-orang, karena kayak dia nggak spesifik itu kan. It wasn't a very specific degree gitu. Like you're very into mechanical, you're very into chemical. No, it's somewhere in the middle. And when I am now as a product manager, it's also in the middle of a lot of things kan. But then I realized that my passion is actually to be in the position where you can learn everything, because I really love to learn, and I'm happy that I can learn a bit about engineering, I can learn a bit about design, I can learn a bit about the data analytics and stuff like that. So yeah, I can tell it is my passion, and I will pursue product management until the end of time. Or maybe start my own startup. Wait for it.
It's more like generalist, yeah. Okay, so to the next questions. Is there any things that you wish you could learn in college that might help you to face your challenges during your current work? For Hana first.
Apa ya, menurutku ya harus selalu ini sih punya curiosity untuk belajar terus gitu, kayak take on new projects gitu, benar-benar kayak nyoba. Kalau bisa internship itu bakalan kayak berguna banget karena kan kita di sini bakalan ketemu sama orang-orang lain dari role yang berbeda. Kita bisa collaborate dengan ya belajar dari role lain yang emang berhubungan sama produk kita gitu. Dan menurutku ya pas kuliah kalian banyakin apa ya, cari tahu terus gitu, sebenarnya kalian pengennya belajar ke arah mana gitu. Kadang emang soalnya banyak banget yang di UX design, product management itu tuh nggak, karena emang nggak ada jurusannya harus kayak spesifik banget, jadi emang banyak banget yang dari jurusan yang berbeda-beda, dan itu sebenarnya nggak apa-apa as long as kita tuh selalu belajar gitu, try to learn, dan harus bisa banyak terekspos ke hal-hal yang baru gitu, karena kita bakalan beradaptasi juga. Aku tuh dulu sebenarnya di Go Live, sebelum Go Live tutup, sekarang tutup. Jadi emang setelah di Go Live baru-baru masuk, terus nggak lama pindah ke produk lain gitu. Dan emang kita harus bisa adapt lagi, karena kan timnya benar-benar berubah lagi, produknya juga beda, nature of the product juga berbeda gitu. Jadi emang harus belajar terus sih, jangan pernah ngelimit kalian belajar di bidang manapun gitu. Yang asal menurut kalian kayak ini passion kalian gitu, ya kalian nggak bakal pernah tahu kan sebenarnya hidup bakal bawa kita kemana gitu.
Thank you, Hana. And how about you, Teresa?
Kalau buat interview sih pengennya dulu pas kuliah ada lebih dalam lagi, deep dive into the data structure, algorithm. Jadi nggak cuma coding doang. For those who are interested. Kalau buat during career, kayaknya a deeper kind of like PPL. Jadi kayak magangnya kita, bukan magang sih, apa sih, project gitu di Fasilkom. I wish it could be like even deeper, not only only working like we came up with the problem, but also kayak pas tahun aku kebetulan dapat batch yang dimana kita kerja sama company lain, jadi kita trying to solve their problem. I think that was really good. Jadi kayak trying to fit in industry lah, karena kuliah sama industri ternyata banding banget.
Okay. How about you, Wimala?
Actually, I was quite lucky, because I did a lot of internships when I was in uni. I also did a lot of business apa tuh namanya dulu, business plan competitions ya. Nah dari situ tuh I was kayak lumayan savvy with kayak product discovery and stuff. I really want to advise university students now to do a lot of internships and do a lot of competitions to build up your CV and build up your experiences. But other than that, one thing that I would do if I could turn back time is I will expand my networks, because kayak gue tuh agak apatis gitu kan dulu, kayak kuliah, organisasi, kerja di luar, tapi gue kayak jarang main sama anak-anak fakultas lain gitu, yang kayak if I know a lot of people from Fasilkom misal atau from ekonomi, I would have kayak expand my network even easier now gitu. I think UI itu gede banget ya, it's different from ITB yang isinya anak-anak teknik doang sama bisnis paling, tapi kayak UI tuh kayak you can actually talk to anak-anak FISIP, communications people, psychology, like law, and all of the other faculties. Please expand your network, because it will definitely benefit you in the future. Because at the end of the day, when you want to pivot career or you want to move to other companies, you will see who are the people in that company, and if you can see one of your friends there from the uni, you can always ask and check if it's a right fit for you or not. So keep expanding your networks, girls.
Thank you, Wimala, for pointing the importance of networking. Okay, so for the next question, this is specifically for Teresa from Aurora Management 2017. What makes you decided to break through your comfort zone and apply abroad? As you mentioned, you weren't confident with your English prior to moving. Would you recommend us to try apply for jobs abroad? Looking at things nowadays, the world seems borderless except for the COVID situations.
This is a pretty specific story how I started applying for overseas things. Start because one of my friends' friend, it works at Facebook overseas. So, and he kind of held this mentorship. It's called Indo to SV, which is like several software engineers from Silicon Valley who are Indonesians trying to mentor Indonesian students to get into Silicon Valley companies. I didn't get in there, but he ended up helping me doing the interview and stuff, and then looking at the requirements on the career websites, I just realized that they actually don't ask us to be like, you must be in the top 500 universities or something. It's just that you need these requirements. You need to learn computer science. You need to, I don't know, almost finish your education or whatever, and you have something on your CV resume. So it's just be confident. I was very lucky to have a mentor, so and someone who reviewed my CV as well. So find someone you can ask me to review your CV as well, and it definitely boosted my confidence, because I know like after someone reviewed my resume, it increased my chance, or like that I know that I can do something more to even increase my probability but get the interview. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa, for the answers. And I would like to ask questions specifically for Hana. Do you still use the stuff you learned in architecture major or UX, but in different world? And how did you convince all the companies that you were able to do the job, even though you are coming from, not from the computer science, but from the architecture major?
Ya sih, sebenarnya emang kalau dari kerjaan kan beda banget ya. Kalau dulu aku desain spasial gitu, kayak desain rumah, desain interior, desain bangunan gitu. Sekarang bener-bener ya ke digital gitu. Tapi in terms of the thinking process sih sama-sama gitu. Kayak kita tahu kan kita design for user gitu. Dan kita harus bener-bener kritis dan bener-bener harus make sure that kita benar-benar melalui seluruh proses, jadi kita nggak ujuk-ujuk langsung bikin sesuatu yang menurut kita bagus. Kita benar-benar harus ngerti, harus punya empati, harus bisa tahu dengan needs yang berbeda. Kita harus bisa align, yang kayak tadi aku bilang, sebenarnya banyak kebutuhan dari tim bisnis, ada limitation dari tim tech-nya gitu. Dan kayak kita selalu harus kolaborasi juga kan sama product manager gitu. Nah, itu juga tapi kita harus benar-benar ngutamain usernya juga. Dan di sini kita jadi kayak in a way juga sama-sama menjembatani antara desain kita dan usernya gitu. Dan dengan all the relevant stakeholders. Dan ini hampir sama kayak pas aku di kuliah dulu gitu. Jadi ya aku ngerasa kayak empatinya dan kayak kesadaran untuk selalu innovate, untuk selalu belajar, untuk selalu design for user gitu, for what user needs gitu. Itu selalu ke bawah sih sampai sekarang gitu. Dan gimana caranya aku convince ke perusahaan, yaitu through my design portfolio gitu. Karena kan sebenarnya nggak selalu harus desainnya berbentuknya digital gitu. Aku juga bisa ngasih lihat produk-produk yang emang kayak misalnya spasial, kayak bentuk. Misalnya waktu itu aku inget banget aku pernah bikin research gitu tentang gimana cara mendesain space untuk anak-anak autis. Dan ini tuh aku bawa ke pas aku mau intern di Traveloka. Pas aku mau intern Traveloka, aku mikir kan, aduh sebenarnya aku nggak punya ini nih yang UI UX gitu. Aku coba aja apply. Ternyata mereka appreciate thinking prosesnya gitu. Kayak aku walk through dan mereka senang kayak, oh jadi sebenarnya prosesnya gini loh, dan nggak jauh beda kok sama yang aku lakuin sekarang gitu. Jadi ya itu sih, kalian jangan pernah takut untuk nyoba. Jadi kalau misalnya emang kalian nyoba terus misalnya nggak direspon ya berarti mungkin kalian harus bisa coba lagi gitu. Kalian coba memenuhi requirements-nya, karena kan kadang-kadang ada kayak skills yang dibutuhin nih kayak buat specific design tools atau kayak specific skills lain lah gitu. Nah itu ya kalian harus pokoknya jangan pernah menyerah deh untuk kayak nyoba-nyoba internship, jangan takut gagal gitu.
Thank you, Hana. Untuk pertanyaan terakhir, aku pengen nanya terkait data analis. Jadi, waktu dari registration form itu banyak yang tertarik dengan data analis, cuman we cannot provide the speakers. So, I would like to ask to all the speakers here, how if we want to try to be the data analyst, is there any tips and tricks that we need to do as soon as possible when we are still in the college? We can start from Kak Wimala.
Okay, I honestly don't know ya kalau misalnya kayak bener-bener flow data analyst kalau mau sampai jadi itu gimana. But let me give my points of view from working with data analyst ya. I will love my data analyst if they are very strong in analytics, not really kayak about how they code. Basically kalau misalnya kayak buat codingnya data analyst kan kayak ya you need to learn kayak simple SQL at least gitu. Kayak you need to know how to query data. Basically itu kan ya. Tapi kan query data tuh sebenarnya as simple as select what from where, select from, satu lagi apa sih? Where ya? Oh ya benar, select from sama where. Jadi maksudnya itu kayak select data apa, dari database mana, where itu tuh yang datanya tuh bagaimana gitu. Kurang lebih yang penting tahu logiknya. Tapi yang paling penting adalah data analyst yang bagus itu adalah yang bisa make use of the data gitu. So, misal pertanyaan, biasanya tuh kalau misalnya request ke data analyst itu tuh cuma ditanya yang kayak, hi team, I will like your help to do analysis on why the sales is declining. Misal kayak gitu ya, kayak gitu doang. Tapi as a data analyst, you have to be thorough gitu. You have to be able to think kayak, okay, sales kalau turun itu tuh biasanya faktornya apa aja ya yang bikin sales turun. Then you will see kayak, how about the user? Usernya gimana ya? Number of user, daily active usernya gimana? Apakah emang turun atau enggak? Kalau ternyata daily active usernya biasa aja, then dicek conversion. Kalau gitu berarti conversion yang di page mana nih yang bikin salesnya turun? Is it something's wrong with the product detail page? Is it from the search page? Is it from the home page? Dia bakal deep dive lagi. Terus dia bisa deep dive lagi. Sales yang turun ada platform tertentu nggak ya? Is it only on Android? But is it all platform gitu? Android, website, Mweb, iOS juga. kayak gitu-gitu. Jadi untuk bisa slice and dice the data and deliver the data result juga and do analysis out of that. Jadi from all of those data breakdown, data analis yang baik ya harus bisa ngasih tahu so what-nya gitu. Okay, from this data we can see that the sales is declining because of what? Misalnya because of these new features in Android somehow it doesn't work. It makes a lot of user yang mau check out produknya jadi gagal. Misal kayak gitu. So basically know how to use the data, how to break down the data, and how to basically query it gitu.
The other speaker would like to add? Hana or Teresa?
Aku setuju sih sama Kak Wimala gitu. Jadi emang data scientist, data analyst gitu harus bisa benar-benar kayak apa ya? Bisa communicate data ininya well lah gitu, bisa query, bisa kayak analisis gitu, misalnya kayak bisa narik gitu sebenarnya findingsnya gitu, apa sih sebenarnya gitu, dan mereka harus ngerti kayak business fundamentalsnya gitu, kayak analyze patterns lah. Dan ini juga yang aku lihat ya nggak semuanya juga dari computer science gitu, ada yang dari mathematics gitu. Jadi kayak emang ini nggak ada kayak harus spesifik banget dari computer science ya, as long as you can ace the interview, kamu punya relevant skills, I guess the company would appreciate that.
Kak Teresa would like to add?
I agree with Kak Hana sama Kak Wimala, and I guess you also need to present your data to present your findings to stakeholders, getting gimana supaya yang apa yang udah kita analisis is taken into account when making product decisions. Tapi overall udah dijelasin sih sama Kak Wimala. So
I think I want to add a little more kayak I mentioned kayak you at least know about simple SQL. Yes, I think as long as you want to learn, you have the big willing to learn, you will nail sih kayak karena akan selalu banyak teknologi baru ya Teresa ya. I believe you know better ya kayak a lot of new languages. Terus kayak now machine learning di mana-mana. Of course, you want to start data analyst role, ya you should not kayak aim buat kayak langsung bisa machine learning gitu ya. You will learn along the way. Tapi ke depannya you can definitely extend your capability to machine learning, even to artificial intelligence, whatever you want to call it. Ya pasti bisa as long as you want to learn. Gitu sih.
Okay, we are at the end of our Q&A session. Thank you for all the speakers for the impressive answers. Hope it may help us as an undergraduate to prepare ourselves to develop a career in technology. And as to continuously improving, we are very open for the feedback, so we may be able to provide a better experience for the participants. Kindly fill the feedback form in the bit.ly/feedback AAS2, because it only takes you around 1 minute. And while we wait for that, on behalf of UI Women in Business, I would like to say thank you for all the speakers for being part of the Sisters Women in Tech, for sharing your experience with us. Be sure all the participants have gained plenty of insights and get inspired to become a successful woman as you. And if you don't mind, I would like to start from Kak Hana to give a closing statement for us, for all these highly motivated students.
Oke, makasih Rachel, dan makasih semuanya, terutama ya speaker-speaker yang lain, Kak Teresa dan Kak Wimala gitu. Aku aja terus terang juga ngerasa kayak wah senang banget ngikut ini gitu, dengerin sharing dari kalian gitu. Jadi kan apa ya kayak ya terus apa ya kayak aku jadi lebih tahu lah gitu kayak di PM gimana ya day to day as a PM and as a software engineer gitu. Dan thank you buat semuanya yang udah dengerin. Hopefully sesi dari kita ini bermanfaat buat kalian. Moga-moga bisa memotivasi untuk nyoba lah gitu. Kayak jangan pernah takut, jangan pernah ragu untuk nyoba apa yang sebelumnya kalian nggak tahu gitu. Karena ya emang ya sekarang kita apa ya? Ya menurutku sekarang udah banyak banget sih kayak apa ya pekerjaan selalu evolving gitu. Jadi nggak aku aja yang arsitek nggak jadi arsitek gitu loh. Jadi nggak apa-apa gitu. Asal kalian semua selalu confident gitu dan jangan pernah takut untuk salah, jangan pernah takut untuk mencoba gitu. Ya. I think dari aku itu aja. Kalau ada yang mau nambahin, perhaps atau dari Rachel?
From Kak Teresa first.
nggak ada nambahin sih, but thank you so much everyone for coming and organizing this. Soalnya kayak jarang banget sih dengar ada movement like this, and I really wish there was something like this when I was in uni. So thank you so much.
Okay, and the last one will be from Wimala, please.
Yes, I want to echo Hana and Teresa juga. I wish there was one like this when I was in uni. Kudos for UI Women in Business. And kudos for the 51. I believe there was like 60-ish participants who joined this webinars. It's Saturday. I know everyone should have been sleeping or doing other things in the weekend, but you guys spend your time to listen to us, and I hope that it gives you something, it gives you values, and don't forget to keep pursuing your purpose. So I'm not just saying pursuing your careers, no purpose in life. And if you want to pursue your purpose, stop looking for validations from others. You know what's best for you. You are enough. You are good enough. So believe in yourself and go strive it.
Thank you so much, Wimala, for the words, and the other Hana and Teresa. So we are on the last part. We are going to take a picture together. So please, Jane or Prilly from Medcom Division to lead this session.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Prilly, Vice President of Media and Communication. Can everybody turn on the cameras because we're going to take a picture? Oke, semuanya boleh nyalain kameranya kali ya, masih banyak yang belum nyalain. Oke, on 1, 2, 3, smile. Again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Prilly, for leading the session. Once again, I would like to say thank you so much for the speakers and the audience for sticking with us until the end of the session, and really hope that all of these discussions, insights can be useful for us, both speakers and the audience. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye. See you in another Associator series. Thank you. Oke, thank you semuanya.
Halo kakak-kakak.
Thank you semuanya. Thank you banget sudah membuat ini berjalan.